from rest of the developers. So other thing is we are part of the system. We are not the center of everything. We are just part of the system. And our actions are influenced by other variables as well as we influence other variables. So that's one of the key principles of system thinking. It's just that, you know, if you are the developer, so it can be like process is being influenced by you, you also influence the process. You are not just isolated or anything like that. And we are not the center. So everyone shares the responsibility for the problem caused by the system. So it's not one person. There is no single actor or agent responsible for the problem generated by the system. So the point of high leverage is a small but well-focused action which will have significant impact to the system. So there is a principle called economics of means, but it says the most significant impact will happen through the small changes rather than the big bang changes. So the secret to find the high leverage is to understand the system structure. So the leverage often comes from new way of thinking. I mean, imagine what I said, like, you know, if the developer burns out is a problem, should we give a solution just through the different kind of thinking. So the traditional problems, traditional solution would have been work extra, rather than we propose a solution which is exactly the opposite of it. Give some credit to the developer. So when it comes to the key principle of the system, so the structure influences the behavior. We are part of the system, and everyone shares the responsibility, and find the point of high leverage. Okay. So any questions or anything like that? So I talked a lot about system structure, right? So let's go a little deep into that, try to understand it. So there are three aspects of system structure. It's called reinforcing feedback, balancing feedback, and delay. Okay, so what is the reinforcing feedback? So it's like a snowballing effect. So just for the moment, just keep that in your mind. So reinforcing feedback is something that will build on top of each other. So, and we will see this in our systems. For example, now when there is a rumor of fuel shortages, like everybody tries to go there and make their tanks full, right? And you will see like all the queues in front of fuel station. This is an example of reinforcing feedback. So banking crisis, you know what happened to Sri. So there was a rumor or something like they are not good, or they are doing some other extra. So everybody tries to draw money, but then they have deposit. They don't maintain 100% their deposit in cash, right? So they have certain limitation of cash, or they keep 5 or 10% of cash from their total assets. So when everybody tries to withdraw everything, they actually run out of cash. So then government had to intervene and make sure that it doesn't fall over. So when there are price wars, that's all about reinforcing feedback. So when there are new concepts being done, think about Node.js, like everybody jumps into the thing, right? Without even knowing. If you do Node.js, I also do that. So that's like a reinforcing feedback that happens in the real world. So the second one is balancing feedback. So what happens is like when you have reinforcing feedback, I mean, imagine like even the technologies. So there is a point that stops somewhere. That is when the balancing the feedback is present. So it's very difficult to find. And just an example, think about New Year resolution, right? So we start the 1st of January and 2nd of January on top of the world, we are going to achieve this. But after a few months, we don't even remember that. That's when there's a balancing feedback comes into the picture. That is because there's an implicit goal most of the time. it should stop from the reinforcing feedback. Yeah, I know it's not that simple to understand, but I'll take an example. Yeah, I'll take an example. The delay is, there's a delay between the interactions. That's pretty much simple. So, I mean, adjusting order of the shower, the temperature of the shower, so it has always a delay. And if we react on top of the delay, it will make the temperature fluctuate. Losing weight, I mean, if you exercise for a week, you won't lose the weight next week, right? It has certain delays. Yeah, this is like example for the quality gap, and we have decided quality gap, we do some improvement, but it can reflect immediately. It has a delay. So we shouldn't overshoot this delay. That's the important factor. So why system thinking is here, I just spin through it. So the world is becoming complex than ever. So the system thinking will help to identify the structures that is behind the complex situation. So, okay, with this one I'll take some examples. So there's something called system archetypes. So according to Peter Senge, not this is only his idea, if you search wiki you'll find some details. So it's like a design pattern. So if you take any system, you can apply different design patterns, right? You need to find the correct design pattern. So design pattern is something, in my view, so it's something that is repeating over time. It's not that very explicitly defined, but you can apply it. So likewise, system archetypes are almost the same concept. So for any system, there are around 16 archetypes that have been defined. So you can find out what system structure. So these are the archetypes are the patterns of system structure. Yeah, so these will help us to identify simpler. So let's go to one of this system archetype. Imagine most of your developers who thinking are working on design pattern. Okay. So there is a thing called limit to growth. So one situation is like we are working overtime, right, to produce more and more. But end of the day, it will overtime will not be productive. If there is a limit to that, limit to the growth of the output that will happen by working more and more. So I just keep that. So don't push the growth, but remove the limit factor the growth. We'll come to some examples. So losing weight is a very good example of limit to growth. Okay. So okay, you set a goal or something. I will lose 5 kilos within this 6 months or something. So you talk with your friends, so everybody is excited. So it gets you, it pushes you, and it gives you energy. So after a few weeks or few months, it's a norm, right? You also lose the interest of that. Your old habit get creeped into you. So there is a limit to growth. And learning new technology or language, like when you heard Angular or Meteor or anything, so you jump into the bandwagon and the energy is there. So every time you talk with, next day you read something at home, you come to the office and talk to a friend. So it's a reinforcing feedback that happens. But over the period of time, so the balancing feedback, the opposite direction comes and you lose it. And even quitting is small. It's a limit to growth structure. It works the same as the losing weight. So you talk about it, everybody is appreciative about it. After a few times, after a few weeks or something, it just dies out. That's coming from the range motion. So this is also a very good example of it. Okay? I'll not explain it in detail. But it's true, right? Especially the people who got married will know that. Okay, there is the second one, is shifting the burden. Just skip all these things. I'll go directly to this. So what is the credit card purchasing, right? You're just shifting the burden to another month or another loan, right? We don't have enough capacity or enough money to purchase, but we have that plastic card, so we just shift the burden. So stress relief through smoking is another shifting the burden. I didn't think any specific example. So improve sales figures by just focusing on the existing customers is a shift in the burden. We should find the new customers. This is also a shift in the burden, isn't it? So we don't care about output, we just need to release today. So we just shift in the burden to another day. That will really come back and
So what's it saying? These archetypes are bad or?
No. It's like, the real world situation are really complex, right? So we won't be able to find out what are the structures in there. So if you have to solve the real world problem, we need to identify the structures. So these are like the kind of repeating structures they have found out. So now quitting the smoking, so that's a reinforcing and a limit to growth structure. So what they say is find the point of high leverage. So like in personal mastery, we talk about the willpower doesn't work. So therefore, what is the point of high leverage? You need to think why you are smoking. You need to find what are the components around that. Then only you will find the high leverage. Actually, if the quitting smoking is a limit to growth structure, they also provide but the solution. So, in generic terms, the solution is don't push the growth, but remove the limit factors to growth. So, you need to identify, if you read this, there have been a lot of other examples and the ways you can. Shifting the burden also, it says like there is an alternative solution and the fundamental solutions. So, you have to strengthen the fundamental solution and weaken the alternative solution. I don't know what this is, but it gives you some kind of a template. So you have to apply it into the problem and you will be able to find the point of high leverage. Okay, so any questions on system thinking? I hope you will, I don't expect or even I don't know the in and out of system thinking, but this will give you a bit of an introduction and you will, if you are interested, just read about it. So, what is personal mastery? So, this is the second one. The time is 5:46, so I try to finish it in 15 minutes. So, I also don't have a very good idea of this personal mastery, but my view of it is like we do our masters, right? So, we do Master of Business Administration, we do Master of Science. So, that's just one particular area. You're a master, if you are MD, you're a Master of Business Administration. So, likewise, this is about the master of ourselves. Wherever we do, if you are a master, then we are doing it. So, just to get some definition going, the people with high level personal mastery are highly aware of their ignorance, incompetencies, all these loops hold, but they are still self-confident. So, just think, because it's a bit contradictory, right? So, if you know what are your limitations, so you tend to think, okay, why I might not be able to fit or anything. But still, these kind of people, they know it and they are working to improve it. So therefore, they are self-confident. They continuously expand their ability to create the result they truly want. So those are the people with high personal mastery. This is a bit confusing, but it's really important. Personal mastery is not something you possess; it's a process. So it's never achieved, it never comes. It's a process that you will always go. Remember, we talk about the personal mastery when introducing the component, it says lifelong learning. So this is about it. So, in a nutshell, it is about our journey towards a continuous improvement improvements. Seeing life from a different or creative perspective. I'll come into a little detail. This is big interesting than the systems thing, believe me. So discipline, the word here means like as a practice. We need to practice personal mastery. It's not, as I said, it's not something you possess. It's not a certificate or anything. So imagine it has like two ends, right? Two ends. One end is that continuously clarifying what is important to us. The word is continuously is really important. Okay? I have a work on question in our life. Second thing is the continuously learning to see the current reality. Because we are afraid of reality as humans. So we need to understand what is our reality. Come to the details. So it's two ends, right? One thing is what we want, and one thing is our reality. So if you have a good understanding of both these ends, there will be something called creative tension. This is really interesting. I will come back to that. The essence of personal mastery is learning how to generate and sustain the creative tension. Because it shouldn't be a New Year resolution which dies away after a few months. So the ultimate benefit of personal mastery is the personal development that could lead to personal fulfillment, and then there is the happiness. That's all what we want from personal mastery. So I'll not stop here, but I'll discuss a little detail in an example. So disciplines of personal mastery have three components: the vision and the purpose, the creative tension, and the commitment to truth. Just don't go into the details. Okay, so personal vision. So I talk about like the personal mastery as two banks, right? First thing is clarifying what we truly want to achieve in our life. So that's about finding the personal vision. So personal vision is a destination or a picture of our desired future. What do we want to do in 5 years' time or 10 years' time? So we need to have a specific destination when we go, what we want to achieve. Yeah, it's about what we want to do in our life. Okay? So it shouldn't be, secondary goals. We need to go really inside. What we intrinsically want. It shouldn't be to make profit for next 10 years if you take an organization. Ideally, it shouldn't be negative. Like to get rid of boring jobs. It shouldn't be your personal vision. You should be focusing what you want to do in the next job rather than get rid of the boring job. It shouldn't be to be the second in the market, because that's a negative vision. Being a leader in the market, it's a different. So these are some examples like purpose, advancing man, capability to explore heaven. Vision is to be man on 1960. This was the vision for the Apollo program. Like the purpose can be being the best I can be of excellence. The vision is based for me in the mind. Okay. So what is your personal vision? How do you find that? Just think about it. What's your personal vision? What you want to achieve in your life? What's your intrinsic motivator, intrinsic goals? So just think about this when you go home or when you go back to them. So some kind of hints. Well, it can be craftsmanship on angular J's in the 6 months. So that's a very specific vision. That's a goal. That's a destination. So it can be like most of us are building homes or something. I will need to define what the perfect can be different for me and you. So health, it can be like run 10 kilometers in a stretch. So it can be suicide, like help eradicate dengue, something like that. These just need to be a little more specific. So just think about what you want to achieve world at large. this is about the vision. So it has to be specific, that's a destination, and it has to be intrinsic. So don't stay with the secondary goal. Okay, so I talked about the creative tension. And this is the very interesting part for me. Because the personal mastery, remember, it's about creating and sustaining the creative tension. So there will be always be a gap between vision and the reality, right? So that is what will create the creative tension. How will it look at it? So why, like, our cognitive mind is that we don't like gaps. So we don't, the perfect answers, the perfect things, very linear things. So our brain try to cross that gap. So if your vision is to build a house, so somehow like the brain thinks and try to put whatever the ways to cross that gap. And in order to do that, you have to have a real intrinsic vision rather than just a secondary goal. And you need to understand your reality as well. So our human mind don't like the tension, don't like that gap. So we try to close us the gap. So there's one interesting thing happen. So you have heard about this right brain, left brain, conscious brain, subconscious brain. So the thought process starts in the conscious brain. So we try to think through that. What are the things that we can do to close this gap? So if our conscious mind is not being able to process that, it passes to the subconscious mind. Okay. So this is from Russian neuroscientist called like people remember the uncompleted or uninterrupted task rather than the completed things, right? Yeah, interrupted tasks rather than the completed things. So that's the human nature. So that's the human evolution. We try to always keep the gap. Yeah. So this is called, I don't know how to pronounce this name. So it says that people remember the uncompleted or interrupted tasks rather than the completed things. So imagine, you try to remember what happened yesterday. Will you remember the incompleted task better or the completed task? You will always try to remember the incompleted. That's because human mind doesn't like that. And if we cannot solve it from the conscious mind, so it passes to the subconscious. So subconscious mind is like have more power. Some research says 10%, and that's where it comes the creativity. So if you can pass your vision and can't relate to the subconscious, it will generate the creativity. How do you do that? It's to have a very clear vision. That's why you need to have a very specific goal. So if your vision is very blurred, it doesn't pass into the subconscious. This characteristic conscious. And creative tension is different from emotional tension. Emotional tension is like if you feel, oh my god, I won't be able to achieve this gap. So then it's not creative, right? The creativity doesn't come into the way. So you have to have a balance between. So if you have like a very high vision, probably you have to lower it a bit, not to be emotional about it. So, if the subconscious cannot speak to itself, it has to talk to conscious mind. So there are certain techniques like, the subconscious mind is very active when you are asleep. But some scientists say is actually it is processing some results to your problem, but it doesn't know how to speak out. So there are certain techniques like when you just got up, just try to write down something without thinking what it is. Then where the subconscious is most active. If you train like that, you will be able to find some solution. Like, think about eureka moments. That's where the subconscious is at work. So, in a way, the human intelligence comes in a way if you can align the subconscious or not. It has a lot of power than the conscious mind. So there are a lot of books around this. If you are interested, you can read it. Actually, one very good book is from Andy Hunt. Because I say very good job because he's a developer, not a neuroscientist. That book is called Refactor Weightvare. Because they say you have hardware, software, weightvare is your brain. It is one of the agile signature ways. So that's a very good book because it talks about subconscious is like a RAM, where the conscious is called ROM. So how to get these things going, etc. There's a lot of some reading here, and they call it structural conflicts. So this is where we want to go. This is our target. And we are grounded in our powerlessness, unworthiness, all sort of thing, right? Have you read this? Have you watched this video from Steve Jobs? It's amazing, right? I mean, he had to walk 10 kilometers or 5 kilometers in order to get a good meal from the Indian temple. So he was such powerless person, and imagine where is he? Not about heaven, so but his company. I mean, if you consider him and our version right now, we are far ahead of Steve Jobs. Right? So we need to remove this anchor. So how do we remove